The only way to learn mathematics is to do mathematics, said Paul Halmer. So children, it's understood that you get maths not by watching videos or listening to lectures, but by practicing. It's a sport. So let's get started with today's class, and today's class is on arithmetic progressions. So it's a totally new topic for you, and we will learn in detail every minute detail about arithmetic progression. So before we get into what is an arithmetic progression, you should know what is a sequence. So a group of numbers which are arranged in a definite order following a certain rule is called a sequence. Okay. So what's a sequence? A group of numbers which are arranged in a definite order following a certain rule is called a sequence. The numbers used in the sequence are called its elements, just like the elements of a set. And when the terms of the sequence are connected with each other with a plus or a minus sign, the sequence becomes a series. So if the terms are separated by a comma, you call it a sequence, and if there is an operational sign between them, that is with a plus or a minus sign, it forms a series. Now what's a progression? A progression is also a sequence of numbers whose each term is related to its predecessor and successor by a uniform law. Predecessor and successor, predecessor is the previous number and successor is the after number by a uniform law. It is not any law, it is just by a uniform way. That is, if it is increasing by 2, it follows the same pattern. If it decreases by half, it follows the same pattern. If it gets doubled, it follows the same pattern. That is what is meant by a uniform law. Now what is an arithmetic progression? An arithmetic progression is a sequence of numbers. That's also a sequence. It's a sequence of numbers in which each term can be obtained by adding a certain quantity to its preceding term. Each term can be obtained by adding a certain quantity to its preceding term. What does this exactly mean? Say suppose if you take a number 2. Okay, so let's start. We'll take a number 2. I'm just giving a small example here. If you take a number, one second, let me choose the color. So if you take a number 2 and the sequence is 2, 4, 6, 8, it looks little similar, right? Even numbers. Now what are we adding? What are we adding? Carefully observe. What are we adding to each term to get the next term? To 2 if you add 2 you get 4, to 4 if you add the same number 2 you get 6, and so on. It is true throughout the sequence of numbers. So progression, an arithmetic progression is a sequence of numbers in which each term can be obtained by adding a certain quantity to its preceding numbers. In other words, AP is a sequence such that the difference of any two terms, if you take the difference of these two terms, 4 minus 2 is 2, 6 minus 4 is 2. They have a uniform difference, and that uniform difference is called as the common difference. What it is called? It is called as the common difference. So let me read it out for you once again. An arithmetic progression is a sequence of numbers in which each term can be obtained by adding a certain quantity to its preceding term. In other words, an AP is a sequence such that the difference of any term to its preceding term is always a constant, and this constant value is called as the common difference. What it is called, children? It's called as the common difference. Okay. So the same example that I have taken up is here. So 2, 4, 6, 8 is an AP. The difference between its consecutive terms is 2, which is constant throughout the sequence. In an AP, the first term is denoted by A, the common difference as AN, and the nth term is denoted as AN. Children, so the terms that are generally in use for arithmetic progression is A, which is your first term, okay, D, which is the common difference, and Tn or An. Some books say Tn and term, nth term, and some books denote it as An. A being the first term, N being the last term, so it is An. So the difference, so if you have to represent a third term in an AP, you can represent it as T3 or A3. Both mean the same, children, nothing to worry about what is T, what is A and all. Term 3 or A3, because we said A is the first term. So A3 is one notation and T3 is another notation for representing. So in general, the mth term is given by An. To find the mth term of an AP, So how do we get the nth term of an AP? So children, it's very simple. So if you consider the first term as A and if you consider the common difference as D. So the first term is A and the common difference is D. So we learned that in an AP, it is a sequence where you get the next term by adding the common difference to its preceding term. So if I add D to this, that is the common difference, I get the second term. If I add one more D to the second term, I get the third term. So if you see, the first term is A, okay, second term is A plus D, third term is A plus 2D. If you see the position of the term and the common difference coefficient, if you see the position here, can we write it as A plus 0D? Let's consider we write it as A plus 0D. So if you see the position of the term and the coefficient of the coefficient, not the quotient, the coefficient of D, it is 1 less. So if you generalize, what will an be? An will be nothing but A plus 1 value less than the position n minus 1 into D. So this is a very important formula, that is the nth term of the AP is given as A plus n minus 1 into D. Okay, it's shown in the form of a diagrammatic way where you can understand. So if you want, you can pause your video and look into it, but at the end it is that an is equal to A plus n minus 1 into D. Okay. So moving on, there are few points that you have to remember. The nth term of a finite AP is from the end of AP. So till now we have learnt from the first of the sequence. Suppose if you are considering backward, suppose you know the last term and you want to know the fifth term, sixth term from the end of the AP. So let us do with a very basic example. Say suppose, 1 minute, yeah. We will take this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 only. 2, 4, 6, 8, oh, this should be 10, 6, I wrote it in a reverse way, just a moment. 2, 4, 8, 6 is not at all an AP. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and I go on till say 100. And I go on till 100. Now I am going to ask you what is the fifth term from end of AP. If you want to know the fifth term from end of AP and if you don't know the formula, what is the general thing that we do? This is 100. So the next term will be what? 98. The next term will be what? 96, 94, 92. So and then 90. So this is what we follow and we say, okay, the fifth term 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth term is 92. Is that what we say? Now let us see whether it comes true when we apply our formula. What is the formula for the AP? If you have to find the nth term from the beginning of AP, it is A plus n minus D, and if it is from the end of the AP, it is L minus n minus 1 into D, where L is the last term, D is the common difference and n is the position of the term that you are asked to find, which is equal to 100, the last term, n minus 1, fifth term. So 5 minus 1, 4 into 2. 100 minus 8 is what? 92. Is it not the same? It will be obviously the same answer. But since it is 100, you are going backward and you are counting. But if it is a other bigger number, or if you are asked to find 15th term from the end of the AP, you can't keep on doing this. So it's always advisable to use the formula. And what is the formula? It is L minus n minus 1 into D. Okay. The next point to remember is 3 terms are in AP, that is 3 numbers are in AP. Then you know that 2B is equal to A plus D. Let me explain to that how it is as well. Now 3 terms are in AP. So let us consider these 3 terms which are in AP. So A plus D and A plus 2D. These 3 terms are in AP. So what is the relation between these 3 terms? It is, what is the difference, children, of these two? It is A plus D minus A. And what is the difference of these two? It is A plus 2D minus of A plus D. Difference is always a term minus its preceding term. So here A and A gets cancelled. So we have here D, and here also A and A gets cancelled. You will have D over here. Okay, which means to say that these 3 terms are in AP. Now, what is the relation that these three terms have between each other? 2 times the second term, 2 times the second term, that is 2 into a plus d is equal to the sum of the first and the third term. So, let us check, open the bracket, 2a plus 2d is 2a plus 2d, well and good. So, in general, if you have 3 terms a, b, c and ap, twice the second term is equal to the sum of the first and the third. Twice the second term is equal to sum of the second and the, twice the second term is equal to sum of the first and the third. Okay. Next is sum of terms, the sum of numbers in an AP is given as, it's actually not the number, sum of numbers, you have to assume the numbers in AP. How do you assume the numbers in an AP? If you are asked to suppose to assume 3 numbers in AP, you will have to assume them as a minus d, a and a plus d. 4 numbers, remember, it is a minus 3d, a minus d, a plus d and a plus 3d. And 5 numbers, it is a minus 2d, a minus d, a and a plus 2d. Children, you have to memorize these pointers, very, very important for you all to memorize this. So, just pause, make a note of these and then we will do some examples. Okay. So, let us see some examples. Here it is given that find the 100th term of a given AP 2, 6, 10, 14 and yeah, that is the AP given and you are asked to find the 100th term. So, what is 100 here? It is the position of the term. So, the value of n here becomes 100. The value of n is here 100. A is equal to the first term, which is 2, and the common difference is equal to 6 minus 2, which is 4. So, children, if you are asked to find 100th term, it means you are asked to find a 100. So, what will a 100 be? A 100 is a plus n minus 1 into d. So, which is 100 minus 1 into d, and 100 minus 1 is 99d. So, it is 99 into, the common difference is 4, it is written here 6, common difference is 4 and the answer is 2 plus 594, which is 596. That is the 100th term of this particular AP. So, let us see what do we have here next. Which term of the AP? 121, 117, 113 is the first negative term. Here there is a slight difference in what you have to understand. They are asking which term is the first negative term, which means to say as you go on and on and on, if you see this AP is decreasing, it is a decreasing sequence. Okay. That means at some point you will encounter a negative term. Where is that first negative term that you are encountering? What is the position of that first negative term is what is asked. So, here what is given? A is equal to 121. D is equal to 117 minus 121, which is minus 4. That is the reason that the AP is going on decreasing, because D is negative. And they are asking which term is the first negative term. That means basically they are indirectly asking us the value of n for which an, oh Lord, see this writing. So, for which an is, let us go back, for which an is less than 0. The value of an where it is less than 0, that first position of n is what is asked. And children, what is the value formula for an? An is equal to a plus n minus 1 into d. So, here n is unknown and a is 121. So, it is 121 plus n minus 1 into minus 4, which is less than 0. We have learned how to solve inequations. Following the same pattern, we will solve for it and we will get the value of n. If you solve using your rules of inequation, you have got that 125 by 4 is less than n. We learned that if 3 is less than 4, 4 is greater than 3. So, n is greater than 125 by 4. But what? How can a position be a fractional value? Here n is greater than 125 by 4. What is 125 by 4? 125 by 4 will be 32. If you divide 125 by 4, let us see, and okay, let us divide here. 125 by 4 is 4 3s are 12, and then you have 4 1s are 4, then you have 0.10, 4 2s are 8, 31.25. N is greater than 31.25. Which integral value is immediately greater than 31.25 is 32. So, 32nd term is the first negative term. So, 32nd term is the first negative term. So, children, these are few basic examples about how to find the value of n or how to find the value of the term given the position of the term. There are two things that you have to keep in mind: what is n and what is an. N is the position of a particular term and an is the value of that term in that particular position. So, these are the two key things that you have to keep in mind. So, we will do few more examples, but that we will put it up for the next class. So, basically here in this class we have learnt about what is an AP, the introduction to AP, what is the formula for the nth term of the AP, what is the formula for the term from the end of the AP, how do you assume terms in AP, how do you assume terms in AP, 3 terms are assumed as a minus d, a plus d, 4 terms are assumed as a minus 3d, a minus d, a plus d and a plus 3d, and 5 terms is a minus 2d, a minus d, a plus d and a plus 2d. You have to learn by heart these 3. Okay, generally they don't go up to 5 terms, but maximum is for 3 terms, and if 3 terms are in AP, that is if A, B, C are in AP, we know that twice the second term is equal to the sum of the first and the third term. So, these are the 3 things that you have to keep in mind. So, that is it for today's class. Hope you have got the basics of arithmetic progressions. Before we go forward solving some questions in this lesson, children, once again arithmetic progressions, there are 2 sections to arithmetic progression. First is the progression, arithmetic progression, what it is, how do you find the term, how and the relation between the terms of the AP. The next one will be the sum of terms in an AP. So, when you add the terms of the AP, it becomes a series. As we have learnt, sequence is the terms which are separated by commas, and series when they are separated with a plus or with a minus sign. So, again that is one more portion where you learn about the sum of terms in an AP, which is denoted as SN. All this we keep it to the next couple of classes. So, till then, bye, take care. Hope you have enjoyed this class. If you have enjoyed this class, don't forget to like, subscribe and share to ICSE Maths Guru. Till then, take care and stay blessed.